from WCIA 3 News.
The entire park is completely full of people.
Hundreds of people packed the stands for a demolition derby. Why neighbors nearby are outraged at the lack of social distancing. Our news cameras were there. WCIA 3's Gabrielle Cook has a live report coming up.
Police investigate a Saturday night shooting in Champaign where 40 shots were fired, where detectives are looking for suspects.
That can-do spirit, that not being knocked down by anything that really is hard-hitting.
This town has been through a lot, and a lot of people have been through it. Aaron Valley goes to the crossroads in our town, Effingham.
You're watching your local news leader. This is WCIA 3 News at 10.
And it upsets me terribly.
Hundreds of people packed the stands at this demo derby in Hoopeston tonight. Several people living nearby were shocked and angry at what they saw. That large gathering, worried it might spread COVID-19. Good evening. I'm Mark Maxwell.
And I'm Jen Lask. Several seniors called WCIA, voicing concerns about the size and the behavior of the crowd. Very few people there were wearing a mask or keeping their distance. WCIA 3's Gabrielle Cook is live in the newsroom after going to Hoopeston. Gabrielle, what did you see?
Well, that's right. There were very large crowds of people sitting in very close quarters. They were outdoors, but in a crowd that large, and very few people were wearing a mask. Almost no one there had a mask on that I could see. I also saw a wide range of ages not practicing any social distancing, and there was no effort to space out people more than 6 feet apart. And as you can see, there are large groups of people sitting shoulder to shoulder in the bleachers. It's an annual event people look forward to, but this year in this environment, a site like this has people who live in the area extremely concerned. Many fear it could contribute to a rise in coronavirus infections, and one person I spoke to who lives in Hoopeston says this shows people aren't taking things seriously.
It's so upsetting and scary that so many people disrespect rules. It's upsetting that they are not taking COVID seriously. We have had family members to die from it. We have several family members that are still over a month of recuperating and still are not back to work.
Calls came flooding into our newsroom tonight. Many of them were seniors in high-risk categories. And many of the callers were furious and wanted to know why local leaders haven't done more to enforce social distancing or require people to wear masks at public events on public grounds. And several police officers were on the scene, but not making any effort to control the size of the crowd or turn people away. Jen?
All right. Thank you, Gabrielle.
In Springfield, Mayor Jim Langfelder suspended the liquor license for Wet Bar, the city issuing a number of violations, including large crowds of people that were violating social distancing there late into the night. The city's liquor commission could revoke the bar's liquor license or extend that suspension next week at a hearing. Springfield police tell our news partners at the State Journal Register they've seen people leaving the nightclub with alcoholic beverages multiple times late after hours, disorderly conduct, and a lack of social distancing inside. Wet Bar's owner tells the SJR he was told that the Wet Bar needed to close down because of COVID violations. A man was also shot and killed outside that bar 1 month ago.
The Central Illinois Food Bank is closed this weekend after 2 workers tested positive for COVID-19. The executive director says workers are cleaning and disinfecting the food warehouse. Health officials are conducting contact tracing to see who else might have been exposed. The food bank plans to reopen again on Tuesday. It had closed down Friday because of the Labor Day holiday weekend. They report a surge recently in demand with the rise in coronavirus-related unemployment.
And some businesses are preparing for an influx of customers on Labor Day.
We take safety of our guests and our staff to be the highest priority.
Officials are warning people to be careful of COVID-19 or risk consequences of an outbreak.
And Governor Pritzker expressed concerns about the possibility of large gatherings over Labor Day weekend. WCIA 3's Jamie Mays has more on how some businesses are helping people enjoy the holiday while controlling the spread of COVID-19.
Curtis Orchard usually attracts quite a few customers for Labor Day.
It gets fairly busy.
And this weekend is no different.
We've had fairly good traffic so far, And of course, this year is very different than any other.
The Illinois Department of Public Health says there have been more than 249,000 positive cases of coronavirus in Illinois and more than 8,000 deaths. Governor Pritzker says he wants people to be cautious to help control the spread.
I am very concerned, as I was back in the 4th of July weekend, that people will be gathering, as they often do, picnics, backyard barbecues, gatherings. And we know that much of the spread that's occurring in Illinois is actually happening in these settings. They're not public settings, they're often private settings.
Curtis Orchard says they're playing it safe.
We require masks inside the store and in high traffic areas outside the store. Inside the store, they will find face shields for the cashiers, and they will find spacing to keep the social distancing marks on the floor. As we get a little busier, we will have more purchase points outside of the store to alleviate congestion.
Workers say it's their way of helping people enjoy the holiday while putting the health and safety of their customers first. In Champaign, Jamie Mays, WCIA 3, your local news leader.
Are reminding people to be especially careful, wash your hands, avoid being around other people who are sick, wear masks, and practice social distancing.
We turn now to the latest COVID-19 numbers in Illinois. 5 more people died with the coronavirus in the last 24 hours. That brings the state's death toll to 8,171. That 5-person death toll, one of the lowest daily death tolls we've seen since this outbreak began. More than 1,500 people in Illinois hospitals are being treated for the virus. That's about on par with where we've been for months now. The Illinois Department of Public Health also tracked more than 46,000 new tests in the last day. From those tests, IDPH reporting 1,403 new infections. We've already reported nearly 250,000 total cases. The state says that roughly 96% of those people have already recovered.
Champaign police are investigating a shooting. Officers responded to a shots fired call around 7:30 last night near 4th Street and Beardsley Avenue. When they got there, they found a 25-year-old man who was seriously hurt. He was taken to a hospital, and police found 40 shell casings from the area from several different types of guns. No arrests have been made. If you have any information or any outdoor video camera systems in that area, give police a call.
Multiple crews responded to an apartment building fire in Newman today. It broke out earlier this evening on West Yates Street. These images sent in from a viewer. Departments from Brockton, Tuscola, Hume, Oakland, and the Broadlands helped Newman out. Everyone did get out of the building, but firefighters had to use a ladder to rescue a dog stuck on the roof. No word yet on the cause. And in our national news, a federal judge ordering the Trump administration to stop winding down census operations.
The temporary restraining order out of California applies nationwide, and several lawsuits argued wrapping up the count early would create the risk of undercounting minorities. But attorneys for the government say it was only happening in areas where the census was nearly done. The restraining order is in place until a hearing September 17th. The city of Springfield is extending its free downtown meter parking through the end of September. Now, while that means you won't need to put change in the meter when you park, you'll still need to move your car within the time limit and can still be ticketed if you overstay. The majority of bagged meters with blue coverings that say curbside pickup parking only have been removed.
Springfield is mourning a local legend tonight. Leroy Jordan was the first black man to teach elementary school in Springfield. Jordan died Saturday morning. He was 78 years old and one of the nicest men I've ever met. He served as a teacher and went on to serve as a school board member and president and as assistant superintendent. He also became the vice president of academic affairs at the old Sangamon State University, now UIS. Funeral arrangements are still in the works.
The Trinity Horsemanship Foundation held its second annual fun show and highlighted how horseback riding can be a form of therapy. People that might be struggling with depression, anxiety, or even physical limitations participated in the group. Members were able to show off what they've been learning throughout the year, and while they were excited to show off their new skills, many recognize horseback riding has offered them emotional support. One rider says she can always turn to her horse when she's feeling down.
In situations where I am feeling like really anxious or sad, I just kind of sit there and hug my horse, and it's a little cute moment.
Horseback riding helps release serotonin, which is also known as the happy hormone.
Let's see if we've got any happy hormones coming from our weather forecast. Amelia Henderson, I think a bit of an equestrian herself, no?
Yes, I did show horses when I was young, for sure. But we're going to go ahead and talk about the weather. Maybe not the greatest conditions to ride horses outdoors this week because it is going to be a little bit on the gloomy side with lots of precipitation heading our way. I'll be tracking those storms right after this.